Hello and welcome to the 30th webinar in the Zebra BI webinar series, where we discuss reporting, dashboarding, and data visualization. The topic for today is how to achieve consistent reporting across your company with IBCS, International Business Communication Standards. My name is Andrej, and I'm the founder at Zebra BI and the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. I'm also a IBCS certified consultant, and in my career, which was more or less more than 20 years long in BI and reporting, I had a couple of pivotal moments, and I'm sure that the most pivotal moments, the biggest one, was way back in 2006 when I traveled to Switzerland, to Zurich, Switzerland, to attend a course. And this course changed my career. And the person who held this course changed my career. And this person is Dr. Rolf Hichert, whose lifelong work in data visualization and reporting has led to release the International Business Communication Standards. And I'm so excited today because this man is with us on our webinar. Dr. Rolf Hichert, would you please present yourself?
Here I am.
Excellent. Hi, Rolf.
Hi. Hi. Well, thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure discussing. We know each other now for so many years. I'm so happy to be with you and discuss some issues about these standards, so to speak, standards. Okay, you see my
Yes,
PowerPoint,
absolutely.
right?
Go ahead, Rolf. Would you start with why do you think we need some sort of consistency in reports, and what is IBCS, and why do we need consistency, or even a standard that's maybe working?
Well, let me briefly show you the story, the history, only in a few seconds. There's actually two people. That was me. I started this, and then Jürgen Feist took over, and he's now the managing director of this whole organization. We talk about this later. He is actually a musician, and my background is engineering. And so we thought, well, why do we have in our disciplines all these rules? I mean, engineers have it, and musicians have these sheet music regulations. And then because we are from consulting, did some consulting jobs, and then we thought maybe it's better to have a Creative Commons project, publish this, what we have learned, and make an organization. And then we founded this IBCS Institute some years ago, and parallel an IBCS association where everyone can be member. It's a free membership. We have now 5,500 from 60 different countries. And our business now is to certify consultants. We have now around 90 certified consultants, a few trainers, and also certified software. And one of these certified software products is Zebra. And this is actually what we are going to see today in more detail.
Yeah, so why consistency? I mean, where does this come from, and how do you achieve a consistency in reporting, and why in reporting or in dashboards?
I think just look at other disciplines. I show you some examples here now. Look at, for instance, traffic signs. I mean, it's very practical that we decide to drive on the right-hand or left-hand side. It's very practical that not every city has its own traffic signs. And even if you look internationally, you look at signs like the stop sign here, you know, even when you're in Belgium, Iran, or Israel, that now you have to stop. It's very practical to obey these rules, these suggestions, or look into in technical plans, in an electrical plan, or look at what the architects are using. Of course, there are rules, so you know the different people working with these plans understand what's to be said. Or just look at music, because that's probably the most professional discipline in communication. Complex things like music, very complex things, and you give this to a piano player, and he can play this piece directly if he knows this language. Or look at geographical maps. I mean, it's all about consistency. If you look at this in Europe, many people wouldn't understand it right away, because we are used and we are trained that north is up. And now when north is up, we understand it. We see Great Britain, we see Italy. It's much easier to understand. If it's going this way, even in Australia, the maps are pointing to the north. North is up, okay? And a last example to make it short, look at this. I mean, you just go and rent a car and the gas pedal is on the wrong side. It's a critical situation, and you press the brake and you hit the gas pedal, which is not very practical. That's very good that we decided how to handle this. And then look at, that's now the opposite. Now we look at the internet, make a Google search for sales dashboard. Then you think at least sales should be identified somewhere, somehow, but there is no clue. Every dashboard designer is really inventing his or her design for sales, all kinds of things. And we have no rules about months and years and quarters and previous year and comparisons and scenarios, nothing. And this is our issue for today. We need something to really, let's say, have some common understanding how a sales cost or profit looks like. Okay, that's really what I think we should discuss in more detail.
Yeah, that's a lot of food for thought. So I'm getting very interested now. So how do we solve this in business reporting? Luckily, we have a full hour today to discuss the details, see the propositions and recommendations of the standard. So why don't we take a look at the agenda? So we explain the needs of why some sort of consistency and standard. So number 2, we will take a couple of practical recommendations. So what does IBCS actually recommend in order to make the reports consistent? We will do a remake of a typical dashboard. So we'll show the before and after. We'll do it live together with Rolf, and then we'll wrap it up with a couple of key takeaways. And then number 5, there are resources available for download about the standards, the practical examples, and software trial test periods and things like that. And we will still have some time for the Q&A at the end, where Dr. Rolf Hichert will be available for your questions. So make sure you type your questions into the questions box. My colleague Tine is monitoring the questions, and we'll make a selection at the end. And yes, we are also recording this session, so it will be available on the Zebra BI's YouTube channel and on our website. Okay, now let's dig right in, Rolf. What are the top 5, let's say, recommendations of the IBCS standard in order to solve this mess with reports?
Okay, let me start, maybe before going into details, the general central message of IBCS. I think we can agree on this. If we want to make business communication more effective through pattern recognition, that's about semantics, pattern recognition, then things that mean the same, please, they have to look the same. And the opposite, if things are not the same, they should not look the same. And this is the general idea of our semantic concept, which I'd like to explain in some simple, easy starting things. You said it's 5. I selected 5. It was a difficult decision, but I think let's look at 5 of them. So there's one. It's very simple but very practical and helpful. Let us present time series. That means months, years, quarters, whatever, days, from left to right. And if there is a structural comparison, like here, cities or locations, countries, projects, it's vertical. So we have this is the major portion of our analytics we have. It's either structure or it's time. Of course, there are all kinds of other visuals, but these two cover probably 95% of the typical business charts we are using. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is it's about labels, it's about titles. So when we have a dashboard, a chart, PowerPoint presentation, it needs a clear title. That's the company, the division, or whatever we're talking about. Then there is the measure, profit and loss statement, net sales, whatever. And of course, the unit, the currency here in million US dollars. And of course, the time period 2020. Then there's another thing that's very important, I think. These are scenarios, because dashboarding is about comparison. We compare very often scenarios, plan versus actual. So we say solid is actual, here dark gray, or outlined is plan. In between there is the forecast. It's not yet actual, but it's a little bit clearer than plan. And then of course we might have previous year and pre-previous year and other time comparisons. Okay, this is the scenarios, number three. And another thing is now we do not use the colors for scenarios because it's only black and white. We have colors for more important things like variances. And so we say everything that's red, it's always a negative variance. It's not a negative number, it's a negative variance. And if it's green, it's a positive variance compared to previous year, to competitors, to plan, to whatever. And the last one, maybe it's very important too, because if you have a dashboard, you have to highlight what is important in this dashboard. And this highlighting underlines the message we have. And so this is a very simple example. If you want to say the share price goes down by 48%, we highlight this, in this case, with a red line. Okay, these are, let's say, the top, or some of the top examples of we follow in IBCS. And now I show you, if I look for IBCS reports in the Google picture search, and it looks quite different, because here you see there is a common language. There are different products, different examples, different companies, but there is a common language, and this is the reason we understand it much easier. Let me I click on my pointer options and show you. Then you see this is here forecast, this is here actual, and this is a negative variance, and so forth. That's the advantage. Just compare it again to the Google picture search analysis for a sales dashboard. I mean, you don't know what these colors or this color or this color mean. It's just by chance. I mean, the developers just use colors for decoration or for other purposes, but not for meaning. And that's now, I think, one example we should look at. And this is one of these dashboards. And the question we have to ask now is it really useful? Is it a useful, what do you think? I mean, Andrej, is it made, you know, these kind of dashboards? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have both seen, I guess, hundreds of dashboards like that. I mean, you can tell right away which tool is it, and you know, whether it's Excel or SAP, or is it Tableau software, or is it Power BI. This one looks like a newer version of Power BI to me, with you know, very colorful scales and so on. But you know, you could identify this. Yeah, it looks a very typical example. I mean, anyone from your Google search would probably.
Okay, we selected one. We could have taken another one, but this seemed to us, we thought is a typical one. And now I really like.
Why is this bad? So why can you comment on this? I mean, why is this not useful?
I think the two of us agree on this, but I like to make it clear for our visitors, for our audience, and I would like to break it down in the several objects we have. There's a title, but we discussed it before. I mean, the title is incomplete; it only shows the year. We discussed it. Then there is this kind of speedometer, and then there is this donut ring chart, sales in these lines, a line chart. Then this tree map or Marimekko, it's a Marimekko chart, and then a table and comparison in columns, and this oversized number, what we see here. And I really would like to click for 4 minutes or 5 minutes and go into the details, because there are about 50 things I think we should improve. Let's start with 50. Which company, which organization is missing, which measure currency, which currency? It doesn't mention even the currency. Is it year to date? Is it August? Is 2020? I make an example. Let's say it's Alpha Corporation sales gross margin in August, or it's year to date. It depends really where we want to focus. Let's say it's the year to date, because this gross margin here, the 9 million, that's this year to date, January to August. But it doesn't say it. It doesn't say it that this is year to date. Then we look at this chart. I mean, we have to use a better one, because I mean, this is wrong. We should highlight the variance to plan and not highlight the actual. Then we, of course, I mean, K and M, this is redundant, and we better put it in the title. Then this ring chart, I think we will show a better solution in your presentation, Andrej, than showing a ring chart. There's very little information density, and of course we avoid these external legends. If we use it, we always write in the chart, and not. This is absolutely, for me, this is absolutely forbidden, this kind of stuff. And then we have this this line chart. We will show a better solution, because I mean, this is very difficult to understand. It might be helpful for a seasonal development, but here it is for a sales analysis. It's not very helpful. These external legends, we already mentioned them. Then let's click into wait. I think but rather we label, I mean, this external legends, we label in the chart. That means we label here. Horizontal axis is missing. And in line charts, I'd like to have these tick marks to better see where the values are. And this is months, that's an obvious information. Then let's look at this tree map here, the Marimekko. It needs a lot of space, but it gives little insight. There's a very little insight. The labels for the values are missing. It only labels, you know, the different product areas, and the colors are without any meaning. We come back to this later. Then look at this table. It looks like a normal table, but it is, when you look at this, the column width should not be defined by the length of the label on the top, because goal variance is so long. It's long. We shouldn't do this. We have a concept how wide our columns and what they mean, and these colors are not really helpful. We never color the cell background. Just look at this, the blue, the dark blue. I mean, the most important values are difficult to read because the black is written on dark blue. We don't do this. We right align the labels. We try to take away the redundancy. There are 3 times sales here. We can take this away. And we reduce the number of digits. There are far too many. We always suggest to say, well, maybe 4 maximum in a chart, maybe 5 maximum in a table. It's sufficient to understand the things. And the K and M, we discussed it. It's redundant. It belongs to the title. Then we look at this this column chart. Avoid the external legends. We added redundant title. It's this vertical and redundant. The X-axis is missing. Obvious the month. And now we also avoid the vertical axis, but instead label in the chart. This is, I think, an important thing. We save space and it's much easier to understand the values, of course. Then we prepare for 12 months. It's only until August. What happens in September, October? We have a defined width of our columns. And so we say, okay, this is using the space until August because we might need September, October, either for plan forecast values or later on for actual values. And then this, sorry, I mean, this is a very, to me, it's a very stupid fashion to have these big numbers without comparison. This is not what I'd like to see and understand business. I mean, it's all about highlighting and comparison. So then look at the colors. I mean, this is really funny. I mean, we have blue, we have blue, we have blue, we have blue all over the place, but you think it means the same? No, it doesn't. It's just decorative color without any meaning. This is very dangerous because colors are important. So this is the original. Let me wrap it up. It's a typical dashboard, but not really helpful. Sorry to say, it's not the type of dashboard I'd like to see if I would be the CEO, CFO of this company. And they are the major challenges for us. We have several challenges. We need better visuals. Andrej, we will discuss it right in a minute. We have to highlight what's important. I mean, you look at this thing, you don't know what is important. You have to read and look and don't know what is now really a highlight. Titles and labels is an issue. I mean, labels and titles. And we have to discuss the use of color. Color is so important for us. We do not spoil it for decoration. Okay. Andrej, I think you suggested now to go for a little question to our audience, right?
Yeah, let's first take this dashboard and do a makeover, just to illustrate, okay, if this is, if this is not efficient, how do we transform it into something more efficient, more understandable, more actionable by applying the IBCS rules? So let me share my screen now.
Okay.
And let's try to quickly. All right, showing my screen now, and let's try to quickly remake this this dashboard. I have exact same dashboard now in Microsoft Power BI, which is right now the reporting and dashboarding tool #1 in the world by far. And it's an amazing piece of software, but if you don't use it in the right way, unfortunately, as you have said, your products, your reports and dashboards will not be useful enough for the CEOs, CFOs, and of course other people who are reading those reports. So Rolf, let's take this and try to apply a few IBCS rules. So you set the title here. Okay, so this is a typical dashboard thing, right? So we have this slicer here, but as you said, it's only year. We don't know which is this for a specific business unit or something. So I just made the standard IBCS title, which is in 3 lines, like you said. The KPIs, the measures, then the unit and the currency, and the full period, and so on. Now I've spoiled something, but okay, so that's an easy part, right? But let's dig into more interesting stuff. So what do I do with those big annoying numbers, the so-called bands, big annoying numbers, or there's another expression which I probably can't say right now. So we have gross margin 9.3 million. Is this good or bad? We don't know, because like you've said, there's no comparison, no variance, there's no context, so we don't know whether it's good or bad. So that's the major thing here. We do have a comparison here, as you said, but we should color the gap here, the variance between the plan, which was 23 and 2022, right? So there's nothing here. So how do we transform this? Let me just move this over. And I'll try a couple of things, and then Rolf, let me know if this works for you. So let's start with a simple table here, and I'll use the Zebra BI visuals for Power BI that are IBCS certified, so that IBCS rules will be applied completely automatically. So I take my KPIs now, which I have in my database. Okay, so let me throw in my KPIs. Okay, so I have gross margin and sales, and I take the actual sales. All right, so now I have the sales and gross margin, 21 million, 12.7 million. I do the comparison to plan now. Okay, so the comparison is the key part here. So I take my plan from my data, I put it into the plan bucket, and I have a comparison here. So let me just switch this to a normal table column. So it's a kind of a simple table, really, but it now has both KPIs and the plan is visualized. So we have the absolute variance and we have a relative variance here. So is this a simple enough way or meaningful enough way, Rolf?
Well, it's red. At least this red means something. I mean,
now we know that something is wrong. Actually, we could not see that before, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, absolutely. And we still have quite a lot of space here. So what I could actually do here is I can just maybe I can quickly calculate the gross margin in percent, right? So just to maybe add, just to demonstrate, if you do this in the IBCS way, you can actually, that would be gross margin divided by sales, by sales as a percent, right? And let's just make it italics. Let's quickly add this. So we see that, you can actually visualize more KPIs, do the comparison, everything on basically less amount of space that we had before. So I can now safely remove this one, and there should be this big number here. Just remove it here. So that was the first part, redesign this KPI part here. Okay, moving on. Now we have this pie chart. Okay, pie charts are very popular. Actually, this is a donut chart, but pies and donuts, they fall in the same category, I would say. So one option, how to redesign this. Let me again do this with the Zebra BI tables visual. Just switch to the Zebra BI tables visual, just quickly, really quickly. And so this is one way how to, one alternative to pie charts. Just have the bar charts here. Of course, it's not the same thing yet, but it's just one way how to do it. And I will also add the grand total, okay, because it's easy to add the grand total if you have a bar chart or if you have waterfall chart even, whereas in the pie chart you don't actually have the total, but of course you see the part to whole in a pie chart. So so what I like to do is actually I prefer this way. So have a simple waterfall chart instead of a pie chart. Is this a good idea for start?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, just okay. It needs the same space, but it's much more.
Yes.
Well,
you still see the part to whole comparison, right?
Yeah.
The proportion, but you also have all this, but more than that. So now we don't need all the colors for all the pieces of the pie or bites of the donut, and we can now add the crucial part again. Is this good or bad, right? Sales by chain, is this good or bad? Now I understand the percentage roughly, okay? The largest share is fashions district, but what about comparison to plan? Again, let's put the plan inside. Now, of course, I need some more space maybe for that. Again, I understand, okay, this is my total variance. Now I also see that, all right, both chains, this is a retail store, so there are two chains, both chains are negative. So I gain understanding. Okay, now I was thinking about this Marimekko chart and also this table now. So in this table, we have the same information. So we have the fashions district and Linzes, so those two chains, and then we have those districts, so financial district or something like that here. So I thought, well, why just not add this information to the same table? I have my districts here. So I will just move this under my chain to create a hierarchy here. So what I basically now have is I already have the redesign for this table. I've just merged it and I don't need the pie chart anymore, I guess, because I still see the fashions district as a total and so on. And I have all the information. So at this point, I guess I can move this a little bit down just to make the comparison. And now if you look at the Marimekko chart, basically this information is already here because I have all the financial districts here. They are actually sorted. So I see exactly how they are. I have the values inside and everything. So I think I can now safely just delete this one, maybe replace this here. And if I compare this to this table, I have the standard labels, right? So IBCS also recommends standard and short labels like PL for plan, delta PL, delta PL, and so on, right? So and also the gross margin. We have also the gross margin, so I could add the gross margin in percent if I had it here. It's the GM percent, right? So yeah, maybe I just add this one still to the table and just simply add more information to a table. That's the beauty of a table. But of course, you can even choose to visualize certain columns in the table, which is also one of the recommendations of the IBCS standard, right? It's not just chart or a plain table. You can mix it up and visualize certain columns, the important columns, with charts, with vertical charts, as you said, because this is a structure, so the charts are vertical, which also works really well in tables, right? Okay, good. So now I think at this point we can delete this. Okay, now your monthly chart here. As you said, it is probably too stretched. I see this all the time. So these charts, monthly charts, are always very narrow, very squashed, and very wide like this in this direction. So I think this is probably a better ratio to start with, right? You don't need so much space here, but of course you could visualize this in a better way by applying the IBCS recommendations. Okay, so now we have quite a few options, I guess, here, Rolf, right? I mean, according to IBCS, I mean, you can use the waterfall charts and so on. So let me just move this measure. This is my plan here. So I move it here to get the notation of the IBCS standard, which is use the outline for plan and then use the solid fill for the actual. So then I understand immediately, I see the difference. Okay, well, this is the plan and this is the actual, right? Of course, we could now do this in a couple of ways. This is the so-called integrated variance chart, where the variance is integrated into the chart here. So maybe if I had enough space, what the Zebra BI visuals actually do, they are completely responsive. So if you have more space, the charts will be presented, the visual will present multiple charts. This is what we call extended charts in IBCS. So now my absolute variance is in a separate chart. This is a plus minus chart. And we have this dot plot, or I like to call it the lollipop chart here, right? So, but as you see, it's consistent. The same thing.
You might mention that even the axis has a meaning, because now you see it's comparing to plan, because the axis is a plan axis. And it's
Yes.
not a previous year comparison. I think that's nice,
Yes.
very nicely done here.
Yes, yes. This is what is called the semantic axis, right? So this axis is not just a regular line. Even this regular line, we use it for meaning, right? So if it's a double axis, it means plan. But if it were a comparison to previous year, then it would be a lighter gray color, right? Yes, exactly. And of course, you can do it in different types of ways, like with line charts and so on. So maybe in this case, I would just go for the waterfall chart. Or if you want to simplify it, of course, then you can have it like, maybe this is even enough here. Just have a waterfall chart. Now focus on this. So now we know, okay, this is minus 4.7, but we also have exactly the context of all the time series of all the months. Okay, so this will be a quick redesign of the monthly chart where you have the comparison to plan. And now let's go for the spaghetti chart as the last part of this redesign. So the spaghetti chart, okay, I'll just what I always do with spaghetti chart, I just break them down into separate charts, which is something that is called small multiples. Okay, so I'll just switch to the Zebra BI visual now. Okay, so instead of having one line chart with lines that are crossing each other and so on, I have 9 separate charts. Okay, these charts are still quite boring and not informational enough, I would say, at the moment. So let's first clean this up. Okay, so the labels, we like to put labels in charts, but of course there must be the right amount of labels and the right precision in the labels. So let me just fix this real quick. So the units, control the unit. So this is a typical thing in Power BI and also in a couple of other tools. They like to put the unit in the label, but that's problematic because now I have this K everywhere. K. Everything is in thousands. So why not say, okay, we use units as thousands on the whole visual, but then we show the units not in the data labels, but actually in the title. So now the K goes up and the labels are cleaner. Okay, and maybe we don't even need this 1 decimal place here. I think if it's in thousands, probably this is enough. What is it?
I agree.
Okay, we can clean it up a little bit more as well. So we don't necessarily need all the labels. So maybe even we can reduce the label density a little bit and just make sure that the most important labels are actually here. And one more thing here, what I also like to do, avoid the redundancy of repeating the axis labels, which is also something, of course, that our visual supports. So just put the axis labels, just maybe in this case, I would just decide to display the labels here. And because I have such condensed space here, I know that you're also a fan of this, Rolf. So instead of putting even the short 3-month abbreviation for the month, we will just use a 1-letter abbreviation of the month on the axis, which is now the cleaner thing. So maybe I would land at this one before I do the crucial step now, which again is, okay, where's the comparison? Is this good or bad? I still don't understand, why do we have this negative variance here? So let's bring in the plan for the last time. I'll take my plan and this time display it in this small multiple here, like this, in this small multiple. And let me just maybe put the category width, reduce the category width a little bit. All right, now I've been able to squeeze.
I see red.
9 charts.
I see red.
You see red?
Yep.
Exactly. Where do you see red? In the women's clothing category, which is obviously now, I think finally we arrived at the answer why. Well, this product category is problematic. So this is where now the action should be, and this is exactly where my focus is at the moment, right? So now I see, okay, 33.3% negative growth here in the women's category. I can actually click here to maybe display both the absolute and relative variance. Maybe the last thing that I would do here, since I have the monthly charts here, I would just swap the arrangement of charts. Of course, in the end, you have to think about the placement of objects on the dashboard page. What type of arrangement works best? We always start reading from left to right and top bottom. So the most important information like key KPIs, the key performance should be here, and then explanation around that. So that would be the quick redesign of this. And then Rolf, there's one more step here. So what we also do in IBCS, we use the highlights. You've mentioned the highlights as the fifth recommendation, right? So we have the highlights here, which help understand, but then there we also have a couple of more elements in the IBCS. One of them is the highlighting ellipse. Okay, so which is also one thing that I can just simply turn on here. Maybe just briefly, I say highlight ellipse. Maybe I just use a circle, you know, to emphasize one point, which will guide my attention the first time that I will land on this page, and then possibly also this highlight then matches, you know, some kind of a key message that is on the top. So in printed reports, that's quite important to put the message here, and it should be better than mine here. So it should also be explanatory, or even what should the action be now, right? But yeah, this is a quick redesign. So let's just check. This is the final solution according to the IBCS, and we started with this.
This is almost funny. Sorry.
You know what struck me? What struck me when I did this? Okay, so it's clear here that the problem is the women's category. All the month it just goes down and so on. And even here, I think I put a little bit of this is a so-called report page tooltip, or I call it a smart tooltip. So you see, in every financial district, you know, the women's clothing category is like the one that pulls the whole thing below the plan. It's just consistent here, so you just see it here. But then you go here, and I've actually tried to look at this woman's category here, because it's the chart according to the category in month. And there's the woman's category. This is the data series, the woman's. It actually has green color. Quite funny. It has green color. That was completely randomly assigned, and I can't even read it here because there's no space for this external legend. And I actually found out that you need to click here in order to see the whole legend. And this is now the women's clothing category. And there's no way to understand that this is the problematic one, because there's no comparison here. It's just the seasonality. There's no context, and there's no comparison. So yeah, I know we are both convinced, Rolf, but I think now it's time. Maybe we just ask our audience. If you allow me, I would love to present a short survey. Okay, a short survey, and please just let us know. Do you find this IBCS way of thinking, you know, a valid one, or is this a good way of thinking or not? So let me launch a quick poll, and I would please ask everybody to choose your answer. You can actually choose multiple answers, and we'll just leave this open for you know, 30 seconds. We'll collect the responses. We would really like to get the feedback. So what do you think? All right, it's coming in. Let me wait for 5 more seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, closing the survey, and let's share the results now. Okay, so I'm sharing the poll results. Okay, it's actually a little bit hard for me to see, but I think we have, okay, so we have, oh, 64%. Makes perfect sense. All right, great. So we did a good job, I hope so. 51%, yes, it's more understandable. And yeah, a couple of people saying, no, I don't like the look and feel, which is, I think, a very interesting objection, which I also hear from people. So it will be actually good to address this. And yeah, it seems too complicated, maybe 2%. Okay. Rolf,
Well,
maybe you have a quick comment on the results.
I think, Andrej, I think maybe it's your presentation because I hear very often I don't like the look and feel, and B, it is too complicated. I hear this, yeah. I think, in almost 1/3 or even half of the people who see it the first time. But we might have people among us who have seen it before. Is it possible? Maybe
yes, of course. Yeah, our public is probably not a typical public, because this is already the webinar number 30, and everybody who's using ZebraBI is using those types of charts and everything. So, but still, I mean, Rolf, I think, just let me hide this. I just wanted to add one thing. I actually wanted to address this, so I will just end with this one. So, okay, so this is like one way how to do it. I think it's fair to say that the IBCS standard does not really determine the exact colors. Like, it does not have to be black or dark gray and exactly this red color and so on. I mean, you can use maybe red versus blue even for the color deficiencies, or even you can have blue charts and so on. So maybe I just took this one and I prepared quick styles, which is something that you can apply to ZebraBI in Power BI really quickly, and maybe just show a couple of options here. So this, I think, would be your preferred, which is really radical, just black and so on. So this is the example that everybody will see on the IBCS webpage, which we will share in a moment. But I mean, you can apply a couple of different styles and so on. So we definitely recommend to reduce any kind of decorations, because they just get in the way here. But there are also ways how to make sure that you align the IBCS reporting standard to your corporate standard in a way. I mean, this is just completely made up, right? I just took randomly two of our clients and just played around with this a little bit. I mean, you can use a different green to match things and try to put very small logo types, or maybe do a couple of hacks, like put the logo type only on the first page, but then not on the subsequent pages and things like that. So if you minimize it, you still have some space to adjust the colors to the corporate design, right? So or Microsoft, and there's slightly different type of gray, and this red matches this one, and Microsoft is a very good one because they have 4 colors, very useful colors actually in the logo type. Yeah, just some ideas here. Rolf, let's wrap it up. And what should you now say after this? What are the key takeaways? You've selected 4 things, and let's just quickly run through them.
Yeah, I think it was a nice idea that you suggested to take our old cartoons, and I'd like to show these old cartoons. Maybe you can remember them. Avoid any kind of clutter. If you go to the movie and you want to see this Casablanca, the old movie, you don't want to see all this logo type and frames and everything. You want to see the movie. And so I think this is the way we have a clear picture of the way. That's number 1, okay?
That's good. You want to
avoid
see the
clutter.
movie, not the decoration.
You want to see that. Look at this. If you really want to focus on this traffic light, we should not color everything. And this is our issue about red and green. So if it is the rest is decent little colors, then we focus on this. This is actually the reason why we use black and white for the scenarios, or dark and light for the scenarios, okay? And not using colors for actual. I mean, if the company has corporate design red and you use red for for actual, then you're lost. Okay, then the number 3, we scale properly. I mean, if you want to be honest, if you don't want to betray, please do not truncate axes and compare with the same measures on the same page. I think that is obvious. Number 4, the last one, I think I like this one. I mean, I like the design. It's our scenario collection. We do not use colors, but we use, black man is the guy, the solid guy. I mean, actuals are solid. Plan, the plan is outline. Everything that's outline is a plan. Everything that's hatched is forecast. And then we, of course, we have previous year, previous month. It's gray or lighter. And we do not spoil the colors for scenarios. Okay, that's, I think, a short summary of four points we'd like to discuss.
Thank you, Rolf, and thanks for sharing those cartoons with us. I hope they will, stick in our memories for a longer time period. Okay, let's mention the resources where people can learn more. There's much more to IBCS than this. Let's quickly go through the resources, and then we'll head to the Q&A. Number 1, ibcs.com website, where everybody will find a lot of information, including the whole specification of the standards, and also, the events that are going on. There are online courses now. There's one right in the very near future. So head over to ibcs.com and take a look around.
Andrej, one thing, Jürgen just told me, I forgot, at 7 p.m. tonight is this course starting. So if someone is interested, 7 p.m. Right. That's about that's in a few minutes. So okay.
So the standards are there. Also, everybody can order the printed, the booklet of the standards. But I think even more importantly, your latest book, Rolf, is available on Amazon.com, both in German and in English now as well. So it's just available there. It's a beautiful book with a lot of practical examples and illustrated cases and explanations and everything. So this is a great resource if anybody is interested in this topic. And then on our end, on the Zebra BI website, we have a lot of practical resources. So you will find other webinar recordings if you just click on resources and webinars. There's 30 hours of material for Excel, for Power BI, how to apply it, practical examples of IBCS compliant reports, and so on. And we have the examples for Power BI and for Excel that you can simply just download. And of course, you'll also find the free trial, 30-day free trial of Zebra BI for Power BI and for Excel, because we have also the solution for Excel, which of course will do the same thing because it's consistent and it's a standard. Okay, so for Power BI, it's very easy because the visuals are on the Microsoft Marketplace, so you can directly import it from your Power BI. Just search for Zebra or Zebra BI on Microsoft Marketplace. Now, of course, our visuals are IBCS certified, and they're also Microsoft certified, so they're completely safe to use and so on. And now let's take some questions. Tine, we have Tine here who will help us. Do we have some questions for Rolf?
For sure. So hi, Andrej, and first thanks to you and Dr. Hichert for a great discussion. I know I enjoyed it a lot, so I'm sure the guests did as well. And yes, a lot of interesting questions are coming up. So we have the first one. for Dr. Hichert from Jens. So the question is, do you have any practical tips on how to establish IBCS in a company? Getting the reporters to follow these rules is a challenge. And is there, another one is to, and okay, so this will be a great discussion. So the question later on is then, another one is to convince the recipients of the report to follow them. How did you go about this in the practice?
Well, let me start, and Andrej, you share, because I mean you have so many experiences too with your customers. I think it is difficult to really do these changes in large organizations. There are many. I mean, I think there are some 1,000 companies, mostly large ones, which really apply this, but it takes sometimes really a year or more years, several years. If you have 100,000 or 200,000 employees, it's a large project. But I think, and you need three things. I mean, I would like to mention the three things. It's, first of all, you need some management attention from the C-level. I mean, if you do it from bottom up, it's like every change project is difficult. It takes time. It's very difficult. It's best if the CEO, the owner, the top guys are really focusing on this and helping us. Sometimes it's a half an hour. You discuss it with the CEO or the board member. It's a half an hour. You show this presentation. They understand right away. But then you need someone, of course, who is really taking the project. The second thing is you need a concept. I mean, you take these standards, but you really transfer them to your internal, let's say, manual of how you do it with your own examples. It takes, of course, several months to do this. I mean, it's work. You have to convince the people before and after. You make some tables and charts and dashboards before and after. And the third thing is software. I mean, 10 years ago, the major problem was not existing software, but now we have it. I mean, you have seen it. I mean, it's so much easier if you have a software that is following it. I think that's it. I mean, maybe you should just discuss it with other users. I mean, there are hundreds. Andrej, you told me how many Zebra users do we have? 500,000 or something, or what is it?
Well, I mean, if you count all the users, including the viewers and so on, both Excel and Power BI, it's more than 1 million actually.
It's 1 million. Okay, but just imagine 1 million
so
people.
Not all. I mean, not all of them are designers. So it's
but still,
there are much less designers than
at least these Zebra people. I mean, they know that dark solid is actual. I mean, that's great.
I mean, it's in the software. I mean, that's what we believe in. I mean, I started as a consultant and I did this like manually and so on, like the old way and so on. And it's a pain. I mean, I personally, I have maybe a slightly different opinion. I think that here, automatization and quick software, user-friendly software that actually does this automatically, so that you don't need to think about the rules and so on. To just take this complexity away, take your data, throw it in, and it should present the best possible scenario. So I'm a very firm believer of that, and that's why I actually started a software company in the end, even though I was a consultant. So I think you should take away this process and just do it like rapid prototyping. Do a proof of concept. Do a really good redesign on a small scale that is important, and just show it to somebody who is important as well, and just try to snowball out of that. So
okay. Thanks a lot for this. Let's continue with the next question from Bob. So are there any particular industries and regions that have like the highest IBCS adoption rate? Is this like specific or not?
Rolf, do you have some insights?
I'm German, and I started in Germany, and the German-speaking countries, Austria and Switzerland, are probably. Andrej, what do you think? I think that's probably also, when you look at your clients, that's the majority still seems to be
in terms of regions or industries. In terms of regions, of course, it started in Germany because this is a Rolf's lifelong project that started in Germany and Switzerland. So also, I guess our clients, there's still maybe Switzerland plus Germany are #1, but US is definitely at least #2, and it's going to take over. So, but then in terms of industries,
Yes,
I mean, at least as far as our clients are concerned, but of course there are also people who is using other software, other types like for ClickView and so on. But here maybe, of course, maybe the manufacturing is like looks the longest one here, but just because there are maybe more companies like that. My experience is you can apply this to any type of industry, and for also many business areas. Many people think that this is just a thing for the financial reports, and it's not true. I mean, maybe even the #1 application is sales dashboards, like something similar to what we have demonstrated today. But then it's like operational reporting, supply chain, and even, I don't know. I know Coca-Cola bottlers are using this. I've made the project. I was involved there directly. They even track like the health and safety dashboard, where they track the number of accidents of people stacking up the Coca-Cola, fridges, things like that. They're also IBCS compliant. They use our software for that.
But Andrej, I think we have to say that the focus to me seems to be on this structured, repeated reporting. I mean, people thinking in weeks and months and quarters and years. It is not for the pure analysis. You have a huge database and you want to go into this database, probably people that are looking for Click or Tableau or tools like this, because they are made for this mass data analysis. It's
yeah,
more,
but other tools are made for that. I mean, all tools are going in this direction. I mean, Power BI is just perfect for that. I mean, it's even better. It's even better in Power BI. Like, I mean, before I did this, I just took, it's visual analysis actually that helps this. I was trying to find some patterns, what's going on in this data. You see it here, and it's like something that you just, you just drop it in, like, okay, this is my sales, okay, this is problematic, and then you just try, okay, this was the category, and it's visual exploration. You use it for that as well. So I can take, I don't know, I can take my stores and just do this for maybe cities. Boom, it's like, oh, okay, it's others. I should actually put the others off here.
But still, Andrej, I think it's structured data, and it's not the focus is not geographical data, for instance, because geographical data,
well, not maps and so on. Yeah, maps are not
what I mean.
covered in IBCS at the moment. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, another question.
Yeah, well, and that question is for you, Dr. Hichert, from Ilkais. So basically, the question is, how long should a manager spend to take a decision in IBCS certified dashboards, and how long does it take for business people to learn and understand those standards?
That's two different questions. Let's start with the second one. How does it learn? I think if you really follow these basic things, simplify, using only these very simple charts, bars and columns and lines, and forget all the pies and spark lines, and very often these spark lines are not very helpful, and forget all these rings on pies and radar charts and all this stuff, and really reduce it to either, let's say, structure, vertical axis, and horizontal, and then maybe have some portfolio and some two-dimensional charts. But I think, as I said before, 90% is either time or structure. And if you really follow these basic rules, reduce the colors, use colors for meaning only, have a proper scaling concept. Scaling, I mean, to understand it, you have to scale properly. I mean, if millions and billions and thousands look the same, it's very difficult to understand. I think then it works. I mean, and people like it. I mean, people, if you train them, we do all these trainings and courses, and people after well, a couple hours, they understand it. It is useful if there's some rules behind. I mean, even when you see what the answers were before, I mean, 80% thought it's useful. I mean, who wants to have this dashboard? If you look at this dashboard we started with, I mean, I think if you do a good job in presenting before and after examples and tables and dashboards, PowerPoints before and after, I mean, people will decide, and they know what's better. I think it is not a problem. And this other question is, how long does managers spend? How much time do they spend on the screen? You mean? I don't know. I have no clue. I mean, anything between 1 hour and 5 minutes, and maybe many people don't even have a look because I mean they used it. Others explain it. I think it's not the standard that the top management runs into the office and opens his dashboard. I don't think so. That's not typical.
And also, since you briefly mentioned sparklines, there were also a couple of questions, from users that are kind of missing maybe sparklines in the IBCS concept. Is there any particular reason for this or not?
Well, we probably don't have time to go in details, but let me wrap it up. I think are existing for many years, but Edward Tufte really coined this term sparklines, and they're useful for some application. But when you look at sparkline, a Google search for sparklines, 98%, Andre, we did this a few days ago, 98% are showing wrong visuals, because a sparkline, maybe just to show it, should show a trend, should show a development. But if the scaling is not properly done, you see nothing. And then you see a sparkline that goes 90, 90, 90, and at the end goes down to 90 to 89, and that means 1% less, looks exactly like a sparkline gets 90, 90, 90, goes down to 0, because the scaling is not working. So we have to consider scaling. Without scaling, sparklines don't work. They don't work. Tufte suggested also have these bands of let's say trustworthiness, or the limited bands, and if the sparklines are in this band or outside, you can see something. That's good. But very often we go for small multiples, don't we, Andre? I mean, small multiples is
we discussed this quite so. I always go for small multiples instead of sparklines. Sometimes the sparklines are useful if you use it in the Edward Tufte sense, like maybe even put it in the text or something like that, just one sparkline or something like that. Or you are very lucky that the data situation is that when you scale them, they still make sense. So all the sparklines have a similar mean to max, and you do have applications like that sometimes, but that's very, very rare. What people want to do typically is include sparklines in a table. So we for example had requirements like, oh, why don't you do this? I mean, it's it's a famous case, it's like Stephen Few. I mean, it's the guy who is responsible for this messy situation, I guess, here with the sparklines, because they want to put it in a table to see row by row a chart. But then the categories that you have in the table have so different values, of course. Plus, people would like to do this on hierarchical tables, which means that you have several levels of different values. And of course, it does not work. It can't work, and it's not only that it's not useful. It's
misleading.
It's misleading. It's so misleading that you should take it away, put the table, and then right next to the table put a really nice small multiple. You reduce it and so on. You can have it small, but you will need some more height for the big values, and then then you will see, okay, this one is so much smaller and so on. That's my take.
One solution is maybe if you index them to the first value. Let's say the 1st of January is the 100% value, or the 1 value, and then the variances, of course, are something like 10 or 20%, and then it works. But if you have, let's say, no.
Basically, you just compare the variances, right? Is that what you wanted to say? I mean,
only you see the variances compared to the start value, and then it works, because the variances are much smaller. But if you compare thousands and hundreds and ones, I mean, you see nothing. It's very dangerous. I think there are some. It's also these these bullet charts, you find them quite often. I mean, these charts where not the real variance is highlighted, but it is highlighting the wrong thing. I mean, I think highlighting, come back to this. I mean, you look at this dashboard, and the first thing is you want to see what is red or what is green, and want to see what is a highlight. And this doesn't work with Spark lines. It's very difficult. I'm very skeptical, but people love them.
Yeah.
Spark lines.
Yeah,
Okay.
some people love
Yeah,
that.
but now
All
they
right.
got more than enough reasons for why maybe not to use them and why there are better solutions out there.
Tina, this discussion is so great. So let's take one more quick question, and then we will just need to wrap it up. And maybe we invite Rolf another time. So let's select a nice last question.
Well, okay, then I have just one for you. So you know, there were actually a couple of questions you know, regarding Zebra. So you will be the right person to address this, but at the moment there are only 2 visuals. So are there like any new visuals that we can expect in the near future to be kind of a release? Is this something you can share or not?
We disclose something? I was not prepared for that, Tina. But well, I can say that we plan to release a new visual this year. So we have all the specifications ready. So there will a new visual is coming from Zebra BI. So that will be the 3rd one, and everybody who's using Power BI already will just get it for the same price and so on. It's all included in the subscription. So yes, there will be a new visual. It's going to address the problem that actually Rolf mentioned here with speedometers and stuff that people are using for the, you know, those KPI comparisons and stuff. So that's all I can say right now, but you will hear about it. Otherwise, we have those tier 2 visuals that, of course, can do a lot of things. They just cover everything else except from maps, maybe. So we don't have a special solution for maps, but everything else is already covered.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Andrej. Of course, thank you all for attending this webinar. You know, nice to have you as always. And of course, special thanks to Dr. Hichert for joining and making this webinar even more interesting and insightful. So, Andrej, Dr. Hichert, any final words?
Rolf, just thanks so much once again to reply to our request and show up here. That was a great session. I thank you dearly. It was great talking to you. Hope we do this sometime. You know, maybe we do a deep dive sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometime later.
I mean, this was. I mean, your actually work was convincing. I mean, we had 80% or 85% people who liked your solution. I mean, what else do you want?
That was your work. I just followed your suggestions.
But I mean, it's difficult to really. I mean,
software
really
did it for me anyway, so
transfer it. And I think this was quite convincing. And I wish good luck for the future of Zebra. Good luck.
Thank you, Rolf, and thank you everybody for attending. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to make sure that you'll get the recording, and follow us on, especially on LinkedIn, to follow all the news. And see you at our next webinar. Cheers, guys.
See you. Bye.